from Crystal Computing. This video will look at smart actions for anonymization of the OpenPages GRC platform. So rather than just a smart action, we've actually introduced a smart solution. So why is a smart solution required? So, well, the platform itself doesn't contain a solution to both set up, configure and execute anonymization for non-production environments. And by anonymization, we mean changing all text values to some predetermined string. So we do have a smart action to perform anonymization, where you provide the resource ID and the group or field groups and fields to be anonymized. But typically we have lots of objects and lots of fields to anonymize, and constructing those reports to generate the smart actions would be onerous. Also, as new objects fields are added to the system, the anonymization configuration needs to be updated with certainty that all text fields are going to be anonymized. And clients also typically want to evidence that all expected fields have been anonymized when following a refresh into a lower environment. So the smart solution for anonymization solves these challenges with a turnkey solution. So what happens? We provide a loader package to deploy into production that includes a new profile to manage the anonymization. This has 2 new objects and a scheduled job to set up the objects and fields to be anonymized. The client will perform that anonymization setup in the production environment and set any fields that don't require anonymization in there. So basically setting the catalog, the index of things to be done in production. That production environment is typically backed up, restored to a lower environment, what we call an environment refresh. And in the lower environment, we'll then import a further loader package that creates the anonymization execution job and run it. So we don't want to put the execution job in production just in case someone accidentally runs it. We only install that one in the lower environment. So in the lower environment then, all objects fields defined in that setup are anonymized as a background task with results logged into a new table, again giving us that governance, that corporate memory of what we've done. And typically you will see a new home page looking something like this on the screen now. So it will tell us what our setup is. So in this case we can see we have 957 fields in total, of which 1 won't be anonymized. And then following execution in a non-prod environment, we can see that resulted in 128 object types being updated. So just to summarize then, so in production we run the schedule to set up anonymization. So this schedule is a single job and we're passing it 2 parameters, one the locale and the other one is the profile. So based on that profile, we'll select all the objects and fields in that profile. Now if you have multiple profiles with different objects and fields, we can simply run the schedule job multiple times with different profiles. That ultimately will create the setup table, which looks something like this with the object type, field group and field name, where you can come in and then override whether you want to anonymize yes or no. So this is a brand new table anonymization setup. Then, as we said, we would back up that environment, restore into a non-production environment, and then in non-production we import a new scheduled job, which is the execution. So this will run a few smart action reports in order to execute, basically clear down the prior results, run the execution, and then timestamp when that execution occurred. And that table would look something like this, with the object type, the fields that were have decided to anonymize, the string being chosen, and then the date last anonymized. And then once that's been done, if we take a look at an example test result, where the test result comments was excluded from the anonymization, we can still see that has its value, but all other fields that are text have been defined as or updated with the text field has been anonymized. So let's take a quick look in OpenPages itself, demonstration environment. So this is our new profile, anonymization profile with our new dashboard, telling us what the setup is, and if we're in a lower environment, we'll have stats on the execution as well. So in this environment, let's first of all take a look at this setup. Now this has already been run, so we've already catalogued this environment. But what we'll do is we'll rerun the setup. So I've added a new field into the profile, and what we want is for the scheduler to pick up that new field. So let's run the anonymization setup. Say start job. And then let's just take a quick look at the history execution to see what that's done. So you can see it's already executed, and let's see what it found it needed to do. So it found that it needed to create 1 new record here, and we can see the field name is called Ian Ask 1. So it's created the record and updated some fields on it. So let's take a look back at our anonymization setup. can now see that we've got one extra field, 958 to 959, and here's our new field, and by default it's anonymised yes. So I might decide to come in here and say anonymise no, and if we say that, then we have to provide some rationale on why. So that is all that would happen in a production environment. Very quick to run, catalogue all of your fields across all of your object types, and then in the lower environment we want to run that second schedule, which is to execute the anonymization. So this is the second job here. And as I said, it will actually run a few reports, which again passing those smart actions to do the create, the updates, the anonymization, etc. Now I've already run this, so let's take a look at a prior execution. So we'll just look at the information here. So we can see this was successful, and it took about 10 minutes to run. And this processed around about 12,000 records in this particular test environment. Having run that, let's take a look at, I'll switch the profile so we can see some actual data. So change the profile. And let's go to the modules master, and then let's just take a look at the test result object. We'll pick any of these, and what you'll notice is the description field has been anonymized for all of these, but not this one here. And the reason is we exclude anything by default in the library. So by definition, library objects probably don't need anonymization. Again, that can be configured in the report. But if we take a look at one of these other ones, so we can see here description, test procedure, etc. has been updated down here. And the test result comments has been left alone. So that field has been excluded in the setup. So again, if we take a look, switch back to our profile, to anonymization, what we should find is test results has been left alone if we look at our setup. And again, it's simple to search. You can just search for the field or for the object type. And you can see in here, test result comments, anonymized no. So very simple to set up, to maintain and to execute, which is what we like to see. And that concludes the demo. So for any further information, contact myself, Ian Sankey at Crystal Computing. Thank you very much.